Alright, you probably have a lot of questions. I've tried so many times to make this video now because I haven't been sure how to word things. But I did see in my latest video that a few people had some questions, and rightfully so, it has been a long time. So I need materials for my next video. I'm gonna gather them and answer a few questions you might have. It has been a long time since I made videos on YouTube. The last video I posted was my fight against the warden video, which I know a lot of people didn't watch, and I would recommend giving it a watch. But that was around 6 or 7 months ago now. And since then, the channel's been rebranded, the banner's different, the thumbnails are slightly different now, so some of them are drawn now. My skin is different. Look, I'm no longer in the same Minecraft skin. Like, in general. So the whole channel's been rebranded, and it has been 7 months since a lot of you have seen me, but probably even longer for some of you who are more fans of the Naruto stuff that I do. So, who's Lem? Why the channel name change? What's up with the rebranding? Well, to tell you the truth, I never really liked the 3011. It always slightly bothered me that my channel had numbers in it, and all the time, when people would first discover my channel, it's always 3011, 3011, or, you know, 3011 craft, and over time, I kind of just realized it has very poor brand recognition. It was poor branding, it was difficult for a lot of people to get at first. So how did we arrive at Lem? Well, my best friend Tyler for years has called me Lemon, called me Lem, and for Elemental Warriors 3, I decided to make a name for the character called Lemupolite. And as it turns out, I really enjoyed being called Lem. I have no idea why, I just really enjoyed being called Lem. And I went through several name changes. It was, you know, Lem's 3011 Crafts, and there was some other name changes over the past few months as well. But, Lem ended up sticking because, one, I just really like being called it. It's gentle, it doesn't sound like... It doesn't sound aggressive at all. It sounds funny. It sounds weird, quirky, small. It sounds goofy. You know, Lem. It's not aggressive, it's kind of cute. And so eventually, I asked if people could start calling me Lem, and my friends did, and I'm very thankful for them to allow that change. They've been calling me my actual name for years. My name is Liam, by the way. But I would prefer if people called me Lem. There's a degree of separation a lot of my friends have always had, which is that they have an online name. You've got Wolf, you've got Dark. I've never really had that. I've never had a brand, and so I took Lem, which my best friend called me for a while, and made that the brand. And now it's LemsCraft, it's my craft. It's my craft in martial arts, it's my craft in what I build in game, it's my craft in my art, it's my craft in my animation, my sound editing, my music, it's my craft. All of my crafts. And so following that name change, I also did a brand redo. I changed a lot of my branding. I realized that I, over the past few years, have been gaining the skill in drawing and doing art thanks to Danny. Danny inspired me to draw a lot more. And so I decided that I want to draw thumbnails from now on. I want to add art to my videos, and I also changed my banner based on that and drew my profile picture. Drew the recent thumbnail for the Naruto Reborn episode 2. But some of you might be thinking, well, Lem, how have you been? What's been up for the past 7 months? Everything okay? What have you been up to? I actually haven't been gone. a lot of people haven't seen me around, so they assume I've just been off the internet, like gone for 7 months. But no, I have been fairly active, actually. I have been streaming on Twitch. I've done some community posts about it, and I've done some YouTube shorts about it. I even mentioned in my very last video that I uploaded, the fight against the warden, that I'm streaming on Twitch fairly actively. And a lot of people's thing isn't Twitch or streaming or anything like that, so I can't blame people for not knowing I've been there. There's a few reasons that I started streaming on Twitch. One is that I kind of wanted to just... I didn't want to edit anymore. I was so tired of spending hours and editing videos, and the YouTube pay for like ad rolls is so not great. It's like $1 if you get 1,000 views, and it's hard to get that sometimes. Through Twitch and through subscribers, people donating, I figured it was actually better income than on YouTube. Not only that, it gave me an opportunity to try and find who I am. So let's talk about that too. I'm a very different person from probably the last Liam or Lem that you met. I like to think of time and life a bit like a river. And rivers lead towards the ocean, or most of them do. You get water that evaporates because of the heat, and it goes into the clouds eventually, and then it rains or it condensates and it forms on top of mountaintops, and then it trickles down little by little, forming into rivers again. And rivers are a sign of constant change, because you'll never find the same drop of water in that river again. Most likely. It'll be a completely different drop of water, even if it was the same sort of atom structure. So how have I changed over the past few months? Well, I've changed over the past few years, really. I have been doing Twitch streaming for around a year, 2 years now. And during it, I've found out a lot about myself. I am autistic, as many of you know. I've never, like, hid that from anyone. I've been pretty open about it. It's on my channel, like, description and everything. I have autism. I am autistic. But I was never taught growing up how to really cope with anything to, like, better myself. I would burn out constantly. I would be in bad moods. I would be angry a lot of the time because I was just overwhelmed with life and the world. And a big change that's happened over the past few years is I've learned how my neurodivergence affects me, and how it affects my thinking, and how I interact with the world, and how I can interact better with the world and be less stressed and be less worried about things. When growing up, my mother always told me to hide the fact that I was autistic from people. I never understood why. I now realize that was a bit ableist of her to suggest I do. I should never try and hide my neurodivergence from people. It's my brain. It's how my brain formed when I was a baby. In fact, before I was a baby, it was how my brain formed. I've learned what kind of things make it harder for me to, like, go through my day, you know, temperature changes, textures of things, little things like that. I've learned that things like Dragon Ball and Naruto and all these things that I really just obsess over. I was wondering, why am I always obsessed with these things? It's called special interests, actually, and yeah. It's a thing where my brain just can go really, really well with that kind of stuff. Along with discovering new things about the way my brain works and the way I can cope with living life, I've also learned that I don't have the capacity that other people do. I don't think I would be any good at an office job. I feel like it would be too stressful for me. And also, I think very differently from a lot of people. And on this journey of self-discovery, another thing that I learned is more about other autistics, because I had never really looked up or tried to figure that stuff out in my life. And I had the opportunity during quarantine, and I discovered a lot about myself that I otherwise wouldn't have. For example, a lot of autistic people happen to be a part of the gay and trans community. A lot of autistic people deal with insomnia and depression and anxiety, all things that I have to deal with too. People are always like, why are you up at 4 a.m? It's because I can't sleep. Genuinely, I'm a nice owl. So what else have I discovered besides things about my neurodivergence? Well, I learned that the way I think about romance is actually not the normal way people think about romance. In short, I realized that I was demi-romantic. I have never really had big crushes on people, and love at first sight always seemed like a fantasy used in movies or something that really just annoyed me. And it'd annoy me too that people would fall in love or say they're in love with someone they've just met like a week ago. And it really confused me. And it kind of frustrated me in a way because it was different to my own worldview. And now I realize the reason it frustrated me is just because my worldview and the way I experience romantic attraction in people is through having a long-term friendship with them first. So in short, demi meaning half, demi-romantic meaning half romantic. I cannot go on dates with people because I just flat out do not fall for people unless I have known them for a long time. Most of the people that I've been with in relationships have all been long-term friends, and so I've realized I need a pre-established connection with people in order to form romantic relationships. And so that technically does make me part of the LGBTQ community now. And that was the first part of discovering myself that I accepted. Okay, so this is gonna take a little bit of explaining because I know not everybody is part of the Alphabet Mafia and knows a lot of LGBTQ community stuff. And plus it might be educational, so strap in. So, when you're born and you're a young baby, your parents have to decide things for you because you are unable to, and you're a little thing that can't do anything by itself, and if just left on the floor, you'd probably not exist for very long. So your parents do stuff like name you, and the doctors get to do something which is called assigning your sex at birth. That is, by looking at you, taking a glance, and just saying, this person is going to be a male, or this person is a female. And what that does in our society is it gives you these names of either being a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, and you can only be one of these two things to many, many, many people. If you're a boy, that means you like sports and trucks and action movies and the color blue. And if you're a girl, it means you like pink and skirts and cooking and cleaning. You like looking after babies. We're gonna make all your toys about looking after babies. And if you have sat down for 5 seconds and realized that not everybody fits into those categories, congratulations. You realize that human beings are not the parts that they happen to show when they are first born. So we know that girls can like monster trucks and sports and all sorts of other stuff, and we know that they can like blue, and we know that boys can like pink and all sorts of other stuff. And throughout history, clothing has changed. Did you know that guys, men, were the original ones to wear dresses and skirts? Did you know that that changed and people wore jeans and other things because it was easier to get on horseback? Did you know that that was a symbol of authority for a few hundred years? Because of that, and that's why women were barred from wearing jeans and stuff and had to wear skirts and dresses because that was seen as not a symbol of authority. Did you know that makeup was made for men? Same with high heels. So why don't men wear that stuff now? Well, it's called male flight. Men think, well, this thing is girly. The girls use this, therefore I can't use this. So men tend to run away and be like, no, we can't use that now, the girls use that. And if you've ever taken biology, you might know that there's a thing called intersex. Now what is that? Well, it means that your genetics don't exactly make a 1 or a 0. Why did I explain it as a 1 or a 0? Well, because we have the term binary. Binary means it's one or two things. Boy or girl. Well, if you're intersex, you're both, and neither. Wait a minute. Doesn't that mean that sex isn't binary? Yes, it does. Okay, so your assigned sex at birth isn't male or female. It isn't binary, right? It can be a number of things because The thing that doctors do when you're born is they look at you and say, well, they've got this thing, that means they're this. But your genetics can actually say very different stuff. So can the level of hormones in your body. You know, if you have a lot of estrogen, you tend to be female, but that's not true for everyone. And there can be some people who are assigned male at birth that have a lot of estrogen. There can be some people who are assigned female at birth that have a lot of testosterone. It's a spectrum. It is a spectrum. Don't click off. We're halfway through the explanation. So, we've established that you're assigned a thing at birth. That is a spectrum. Guess what? So is the way you express yourself and your personality and everything about you, really. Autism is a spectrum as well. You know, it's a spectrum of how it affects different people differently, different ways it affects people. And so we get to gender. Gender is how you feel on the inside. It is how your brain thinks of you. It is how you like to express yourself and how you feel. And if you feel like you don't exactly fit in with being a man, and you think your life would be better if you happen to be born a woman, or if you were born a woman and you think your life might be better as a man, that means your gender assigned at birth is not correlating with the gender that you fully believe and experience within your head. We have the outer shell of life, which is your body and what you do with it, but your mind is something completely different, and your mind is what's more important. Your mental health, your likes and dislikes. You can be a guy and like dressing up with like skirts or in pink or dresses or wearing makeup. You could also be a girl and like going to fights and monster truck rallies or whatever else guys like. But my point is, you get a choice. You do get to choose, because your personality does not match up to whatever the doctor looked at when you were born and decided this is what you're going to be branded as all your life. And now we get back to the I am autistic part. I am autistic. One trait about being autistic means that I've had to mask who I am around a lot of people. Because I'm not good at socializing. I'm really not good at communication or social interaction. You'd think I would be, but I'm not. And so throughout my life, I've had to make what's called a mask, and different masks for different people. I would have different friend groups, and around those different friend groups, I would be entirely different people. I would have different types of communication with them. I would be entirely different people around different friend groups. And so my expression and how I felt on the inside also would change with these different groups. I would put on different masks, different faces. I would be different people. Not entirely different people. That's a different thing. But the way I express myself and the way I talk and the way that I would do things, it would change. It's the same with when I reveal to people I'm British, and people are like, but you sound American. You don't sound British at all. No, that's because I need to be around specific people for that to come out, unfortunately. That's just how it works for me. I know why, it's because of the masking, but that's just how it works. So I discovered that although I was assigned male at birth, I don't really like a lot of male stuff. I don't like the way people try to big themselves up and, well, I'm more manly than you and I'm tough and I like sports, I guess, and drinking, going out with da boys, and, you know, calling people bro and man. And I hate that stuff, actually. Please do not call me bro or man in the comments. And I was asked once, because I kept saying I would look after myself a lot more if I was born a girl. So a friend asked me, do I want to be one? And I was stunned for months on this question. I was like, huh, do I? And the answer is, I like being a shape-shifting blob that can just become whatever I want in the situations I want it to be. Which, because I mask and I'm autistic, just so happens to be how I am in the inside. I don't fit into the binary, the 0 and 1 of boy or girl, I don't feel on the inside. And so there are lots of ways that people can explain this. There's a thing called gender fluid, where your gender is fluid, it fluctuates, it changes depending on who you're around and stuff. There's also an umbrella term called non-binary, which means you do not fit into the binary. And for now, that is the label that I am using for myself. Hi, I'm Lem. I'm demi-romantic and non-binary. So some of you who know about this stuff might be asking, well, okay, well, do you want to be like called different things? Do you want to do you want to be called like she or they? Or the answer is I'm okay with anything, but I do have a preference, and it is they. I would prefer it if you called me they in the comments, and Lem. But now that I've gone through this very long explanation, I do have some things that I want to say real quick. If you are ableist against people with autism, ADHD, and different neurodivergencies, ODD, DID, there are hundreds and thousands of different neurotypes in the world, and a lot of them are not the usual. If you are ableist towards someone who has an invisible disability, like the kinds mentioned, get off my channel. I don't want you here. If you are a person that is homophobic and that cannot accept that people can just love who they love, because that is just how it works, that's how you function, you fall for people you like, get off my channel. If you're homophobic, get off my channel. I don't want you here. And if you are a person that cannot accept that human beings are the most intelligent race on this planet, that we are capable of communication, we are capable of change and changing ourselves, and you're transphobic because people have chosen to take this gift that we have into their own hands and become who they are on the inside, on the outside. If you are transphobic, get off of my channel. I don't want you here. And while we're at it, because my channel has supported these things for years. We've had people of color here, we've had different members of the LGBTQ community. If you do not like people of a different race, and you make these people's day worse because they were born in a different part of the world with a different custom to you, get off the internet and my channel. Racism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism. No. I don't want you here, and I don't like you. You have a chance to change if this is you. And I really hope you do, and I really hope you learn. But for those of you that are part of these communities, and if you fit into any of these communities, if you're LGBTQ, if you're trans, if you're, part of a people of minority, you're black, Asian, a person of color, if you're Native American, if you have a disability, maybe you're dyslexic, maybe you have autism like me, maybe you have ADHD. Know that somebody loves you, okay? And that you are accepted, and that it is okay to be you. And that you are welcome here on my channel. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate that you're alive. I appreciate that you're going after the things that you like and trying to live the life that you want. And I am actively cheering every single one of you on. The world is tough, the world is cruel, and people are awful. And I'm just glad you're here. And so there you have it. Hi, I'm Lem. I go by they, them pronouns, but you can use any pronouns for me. However, please do not refer to me as Bro Man in the comments. I really don't like being called Bro Man. I've been gone for a while because I've been streaming on Twitch, and for every stream I've done for the past few months, I've been drawing a sketch each time before the stream and posting that to Twitter. On Twitter, I currently have commissions open that I'll draw stuff if you pay me. And if you want to support me, the best way to do so is by using the Super Thanks feature, which works like a donation feature on YouTube, and it helps get me a little bit more money in these times of crisis when YouTube videos and Twitch streaming and stuff just isn't enough right now. And I would like to thank anyone who made it to the end for watching all the way through. Thank you for listening to me explain stuff, listening to me explain that I found out a lot about myself, why the rebranding has happened, that I'm now Lem, and I'm looking forward to making more videos. I'm hoping that you enjoy them. For now, bye bye!